Good evening from the Pompey Observatory. We are enjoying the moon as it rises through a tree. It's going to remain very low to the horizon tonight. The highest it will get will be 17 degrees. Good evening, Richard. I could not miss an opportunity to image the moon for the next several minutes before we get down to some serious work. Yet the moon has just cleared the tree. And while we're at it, I'm going to attempt to stack the moon. Let's see. Photo, astro, yup. Will it let us stack it right away? Let's see. It'll most likely shrink it back to normal size, but that is alright. It has kept the exposure the second image being stacked usually renders it very noisy, and then it starts improving dramatically. This is a faithful reproduction of the color of the moon as I see it outside my window. Okay, successfully stacked. Actually, we have clouds and thunderstorms also. Interesting how different the colors are between the stacked version and the live version. Not completely out of the trees. Or are these clouds? Oh, these are clouds. Okay. Whatever. Wow. It's almost beautiful. Well, if the clouds thicken, it might be a very short night. Let's see what Astrospheric says. Yep, it says it's going to get worse before it gets better, and the better is Monday night. Okay. I wonder if it'll let me focus. Okay, no problem there. Hello, Rochester. This is what we are dealing with. Clouds here, clouds there, clouds everywhere. We did get a sneak peek of the moon before the clouds moved in. Richard, Pompey Observatory is in Pompey, New York. I'm very excited at the prospect of a very clear Monday night, because Tuesday morning at around 3 a.m. several things will happen. First one, International Space Station is back as a morning target. Second, the moon will be still bright enough to allow a shot at the Ina crater and the blue lake on it. Item 3, TCRB will be due south, and I'm still trying to split the two stars in TCRB. And fourth, Saturn will be high enough. So if all goes as planned, this calls for a trip to Oswego and the 16-inch telescope. My attempts at Blue Lake Okay. Thanks for joining us, Richard. In case this is your first visit with us, I try to go live every night and every day whenever clouds permit, with an assortment of telescopes ranging from a 1-inch dwarf to a 16-inch mid at SUNY Oswego, State University of New York, where I am a volunteer astronomer. The Pompey Observatory proper has an 11-inch Edge HD as the largest scope. And I've been attempting lately, without much success, to split the two stars in TCRB. They are 3 arc seconds apart. And the blue lake on the moon in the Ina crater is just a touch smaller than 3 arc seconds. Actually, it's 2 arc seconds. And both of these, in different ways, require excellent atmospheric conditions, which we certainly do not have tonight. and the plot thickens. DWARF has no problem tracking the moon behind clouds. It did excellent during the total solar eclipse a couple months ago. It tracked the sun even when the sun was totally dark, and then it came on the other side of the eclipse, of the totality. We're trying to get out of the clouds. Ironically, there is a very, very thick layer of clouds in front of the moon, but the sky is clear elsewhere. Trying to move the clouds with my finger or move the moon out of the clouds, but it's not working. As many of you may know, we have a partial lunar eclipse on September 17 from about 10 p.m. to midnight. And I plan to cover that from Oswego, both using the big scope and the small scope, hoping that I will have my Dwarf 3 by then. So we will have an assortment of instruments covering the eclipse. Richard, I've captured Blue Lake with the 11-inch Celestron Edge HD. Took, well, it was both lucky imaging as well as stacking thousands upon thousands of frames at high speed. And I convinced myself that I was looking at the Blue Lake. It would have been only about 8 pixels, about 8 pixels by 6 pixels. So where technology fails, you have to use your imagination and say, yeah, I know it's supposed to be there, halfway between those two craters, so yep, I'm looking at it. The 16-inch Meade at the university in Oswego has a 21 megapixel sensor. So if the sky is clear enough, if the seeing is good enough, then I should be able to see it. Let me see if I can find quickly my footage of the Blue Lake and send you a link. Good evening, Bill. We know there must be a moon somewhere in that tree, actually in these clouds. We did look at it earlier, so hoping it will break through the clouds soon. Bill, I was telling Radar Fan that Tuesday morning, very early Tuesday morning, is a promising trifecta, or whatever it is when you have 5. The International Space Station will be again a morning target. It's going to be passing around 3 a.m. visible for Oswego. And then the moon will be clear enough to attempt to image the Blue Lake on the moon using the 16-inch telescope. And then we have TCRB As you may recall, Will, thanks for joining us. Look forward to seeing you again. Larry, my Seestar is not able to find either, and I have to move it manually. The sun is the easy one because I look for the crack between the moving arm and the stationary part, and that allows me to project the sun against whatever. So that's how I align it. Yeah, Bill, I was not done. We said TCRB trying to split it, the moon, and then the blue lake. We also have Saturn will be high enough, and Mars will be just breaking high enough before the sun. So 2 planets, a binary star system, the International Space Station, and the moon. So if the weather holds, I'll be going live from Oswego Tuesday morning. In the meantime, I painted half of my sky shed pod with a UV and light reflective paint. And when I went outside this midday to look at it today, it was so incredibly bright I could not look at it without putting sunglasses. And the temperature was a good 20 degrees lower than it would have been usually. I left on purpose, I only painted half, so I can go inside with my infrared thermometer and measure the temperature, what's going in over the painted area versus the unpainted area. Looks like we have a moon. Nope, they moved the International Space Station. Because it is so heavy and there is so much drag, they have to push it up every few days to boost the orbit, and that moved it out of the originally anticipated transit. It did not happen. The Chinese space station, on the other hand, is still lighter and smaller with a lot less drag, so the orbit corrections are far less frequent. I may have mentioned last time when we missed the International Space Station, I was looking at 4 different programs giving me 4 different coordinates as to where it was supposed to be, and must have picked the wrong one. Usually they concur, but occasionally I have 4 different readings. So for those looking to see where the blue lake is, excuse my big fingers, come back. It's going to be somewhere around here. These are the Pyrenees Mountains, and I usually look at this crater and that crater, and Blue Lake is going to be somewhere around here. Dimensions 3 kilometers by 2 kilometers, and considering that the moon is about 370,000 kilometers away, you do the math, you end up with just about 2 arc seconds, which ain't an awful lot. So yeah, it's going to be, whoop, there was another bird. It's going to be somewhere around here. So before I forget, I need to take a couple of photos. Okay, and a quick video. I mean, there are clouds in front of the moon, obviously. There they are. Ah. And for those who wonder why they call it the strawberry moon, this is the main reason. Sorry. Now it is a strawberry moon. Okay, enough fooling around. The frogs are back to our pond after a 2-year absence. I'll let you enjoy them for a second. Oh. Unfortunately, the prospects are not good. The clouds are not going to let us enjoy the evening. Did you see that, Bill? So this was at 5150. It went straight through the middle. I'm looking forward to the radio telescope that Oswego will be installing sometime in the next few months. And I wonder to what extent that thing can look through clouds. Maybe I should ask Dr. Google. Radio telescopes can be used in cloudy skies because the longer wavelengths can pass through clouds without obstruction. That's going to be interesting. So I will be able to image even with clouds. Okay, there is hope. Apparently geese like to travel at night, and yeah, we do have quite a few around here. I'm gonna attempt to stack the moon and see how well it does. Usually the second frame gets very noisy and then it'll start clearing nicely. No filters, just Dwarf 2 without filters. I'm looking forward to Dwarf 3 with its built-in dual band filter and to see what that does. Right now Dwarf 2 only has infrared cut or pass. Dwarf 3 will have that in addition to the dual band filter. Serpens Nebula. It says it contains the pillars of creation. Can that be? Bill, that would be Messier 16. I don't know if this is the same pillars of creation or not. Let me see if any of the apps, see if Stellarium knows anything about it. Stellarium is not showing me much. All right, now it is. According to Stellarium, it's not the same as M16, so we may have a new target there. Yeah, it is not M16. Okay. You got it next time. Yup. Okay. Unfortunately, we are losing the moon. Gentlemen, ladies, I must wish you a good night at this point. And keeping my fingers crossed that we'll have a better night tomorrow, but at least we got the full moon, even though briefly.